returning your phone call from the Office of Attorney Regulation Counsel.
Right. So do you have like 10 minutes?
Well, I do, but based on the message that you left for me, Mr. Like you want me to review the analysis that Louise Smith already provided with regard to your concerns about Magistrate Brodsky?
For example, I just want to probe a couple of quick issues.
Mr. If you have concerns about Ms. Smith's review of the matter, what I'm going to ask you to do, sir, is to write to me about those concerns, and then I will review her concerns, if that's appropriate, based on the contents of your letter.
Okay, so can you discuss anything on the phone?
I'm not going to do it over the phone with you, sir, no.
But if I write you a letter addressed to you directly,
right,
then you'll get back to me with your answers to those.
That's exactly right.
And basically, I'm going to ask you whether you agree with her or me on a set of issues.
Well, and I'm not going to address it that way. The question is whether or not Ms. Smith reviewed and analyzed the issues that you presented in the request for investigation properly. Okay, and I need to make sure you understand, not Ms. Smith's prerogative, and it's not my prerogative to give you any legal advice. No one in this office is going to give you any legal advice. The only feedback that we can provide to you, sir, is whether or not the information you provide demonstrates that a lawyer, or in this case a magistrate, violated the Colorado Rules of Professional Conduct. That's the only feedback we can provide.
Right, so I'm going to ask your opinion on those issues. In a candid manner. I mean, let's say, for example, you're in court and you're asked your opinion on a certain issue. You're a lawyer with the Supreme Court. An expert witness, so to speak. I would ask your opinion. I would ask for the same sort of candor and honesty you'd be required to in court. So
I'm not going to, and what I'm telling you, Mr. Green, that I'm not going to give you my opinion. What I'm going to tell you is, if you ask me to review Ms. Smith's determination on the request for investigation, I'm going to tell you whether or not I believe her analysis was correct or incorrect. I'm not going to give you any opinions about Magistrate Brodsky's conduct.
You're not going to give me any opinions about. So you're, to some extent, a supervisory agent for her and all the attorneys in the state, and you're not going to give me.
I'm not a supervisory agent for all of the attorneys in the state.
Well, you review misconduct complaints. So if an attorney violates the rules of professional conduct, you're unwilling to give your opinion on that?
Ms. Smith was the attorney that was assigned to this request for investigation. My understanding is that she has already analyzed the information you have provided, and she has provided you with feedback about whether or not she believes there was clear and convincing evidence that Magistrate Brodsky violated the rules of professional conduct. And my understanding is that Ms. Smith made a determination that there was not clear and convincing evidence that the rules were violated. If you have concerns about Ms. Smith's review or analysis of the information you provided, that's what you can write to me about. I will review it, and then I will let you know whether I think Ms. Smith properly reviewed and analyzed the information.
Okay, what I'm going to ask you.
I'm not going to get crosswise with you about what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do.
It's a very brief question, if you don't mind.
I'm not going to do it over the phone. If you write to me, I will review it, and then I will follow up with you, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you is your opinion on whether a magistrate or a lawyer was honest.
Mr. I've already given you the parameters of the review that I will provide. If you write to me, I will review the information, and then I will follow up with you.
I just want to know if that's a fair question asking you.
I'm not going to argue with you. I've already laid it out for you, sir. Okay?
So you're not going to tell me if you'd answer that question. I mean, what's the point?
I will review your letter, and then I will follow up with you appropriately.
Okay, well, just to be clear, I'm going to ask your opinion on whether a magistrate or a lawyer was honest.
Anything else for us to discuss, sir?
I just don't know why in your position you wouldn't take. I asked you a simple question about whether a magistrate or an attorney was honest, and you won't answer that.
Been on the phone for 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, but you haven't answered that question.
You're trying to get me to commit to something that I've already made it clear to you that I'm not going to commit on.
Okay, so
What else would you like to talk about, sir?
That's all I want to know is your opinion on whether a magistrate or a lawyer was honest, and you're not going to answer that question.
Send me a letter, and I will perform the review that I've described.
Okay, that's my question, but I'm surprised that it would take you 10 seconds to answer the question, and you've spent 5 minutes avoiding answering the question.
Sounds like we're finished, right?
You're being evasive, so I get.
Send me a letter, I will review it, sir, and then I will follow up.
Okay, I'll ask you that same question on letter since you won't answer by phone.